Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. You know, I've been showing you various instruments that I have about 250 or so instruments in my collection. When I cataloged them before a few weeks ago, I had 231, but I know I have more than that. I've added more than that. But I decided that today would be a good day to show you instruments from the Caribbean. And then I got to thinking, well, why not African instruments? Why not South American instruments? So I have instruments here that I want to show and demonstrate from various areas of the world, and most of them from the Caribbean, but I also have instruments from Peru, Morocco, West Germany, Israel, China, West Africa. So there's a lot of instruments here that I want to demonstrate. So I thought, first of all, I'll show you instruments from India. I kind of have them broken down by location. So here's an instrument from India. I'm going to show you two instruments from India. This is just, I think, made for tourists. And the reason I think it's made for tourists, let me hold it up this way so you can see it. I think it's made for tourists because everything that's printed on it is printed in English. Why would you do that in a nation that doesn't speak English, although some people do speak English everywhere? So it's a small tube. It has tone holes in the front. There's no tone holes in the back, but it is decorated both front and back. And it also says on the front, it says made in India in English. It has the labium, which they all do, which is this small little square here. Some have a lip. This does not have a lip. It's just the labium, the window of the labium, that little square. And in the back, you can see that it has a big C on it. Now, I'm not sure what that C stands for. I'm tempted to think that that C may stand for the key of C, but I don't know that for sure because I don't know why they put that on there. Most instruments do not have information on the key that it's in, although some of the smaller ones do. I have some instruments that will say key of D or key of F, but it's not universal by any means. This one does play. I have several of these. If you want to look at the tone holes, they're all the same size all the way down. Whoops, let me get this straightened up. That's unusual because usually you have some variation in the size of the tone holes to accommodate the size of your fingers, and it's also spaced a little differently so it accommodates your hand. Nonetheless, it does play, and it plays like other instruments do. I'm going to just blow in a few notes here so you'll have a chance to see it. Now, the lower note may get a little squeaky and unclear. Higher notes get a little squeaky and unclear. That's as high as it's going to go. The one thing you got to remember about bamboo instruments, the ones that are less expensive, most of these instruments that I brought in today are bamboo. One thing you need to remember is that if the bamboo is not thick, it's easy for an instrument to get a split in it. And this one does not have a split in it, but some of my instruments do. Once it has a split in it, the instrument is all done as far as playing is concerned. I have played some instruments that have a split. It usually will split around by the mouthpiece because you have all this warm air going into the mouthpiece, and what happens is that it gets warm and the temperatures change as it gets cooler, and that thinner bamboo tends to split a little. But if you keep playing it, it just splits more and more and more. So it's best not to play it once it's split. Just enjoy it as part of your collection, but don't do a lot of work playing it. Now, this little guy here is also from India. This is an unusual instrument. I have had him in once before. It's an absolutely beautiful instrument. If you can see, I don't know if you can come in close enough to see all of the little carvings that are on it. There are really intense carvings. You have carvings of leaves and carvings of, that's good, that's great. You'll have rows of leaves, and then you'll have rows of flowers, and then rows of leaves again. It kind of goes back and forth. This is the front of the instrument. Whoops, let me get it over here. That's the bottom of it. This is the top of it. This is the labium. I like to have you see, this is all hand done, and it has leaves and flowers on it, all hand done, and the tone holes in the front are all the same size. I don't know as it plays very well. I haven't tested it out in a while. There's a big stretch between the fingers. It makes noises, but it's not really. It isn't anything you'd write home about, you know, but that's about the best it can do. But it's more for decorative purposes than anything else. And it says in the back, there's a little tag on it that says, made in India. It is a beautiful instrument to look at, and I'm glad I have it in my collection. It isn't anything I would play. It does have the little labium. The labium has a little lip to it, but not much. There is a little block in the back, which most mouthpieces in the recorders have. They have that block in the back. It's hard to see the block on a lot of these instruments because even if they're plastic and made in a modern country, like America, but because usually the block is about the same color as the rest of the instrument, sometimes not, but usually, and what happens is that it's hard to see it. So here's another Indian instrument. Now I want to mention this instrument. This is Israeli. Well, the materials in it is Israeli. You can notice that there's a black, the top of it is black, the whole head joint is black. And then the bottom of it is made out of cedar, which comes from Israel. I don't know if it was actually produced in the United States or Israel, but this is all Israeli wood. And it plays really well. It's plastic on the top. It's a gill. A gill is a very good name. I don't have it in very often because of the fact that it's a softer tone, but it's a very, very nice instrument. Sounds just like any instrument sounds, you know. It can play beautifully. It's not quite as sharp-toned as some of the other instruments I have, but it is a very nice instrument. Now I'm going to show you some instruments from Peru. I have about 5 instruments from Peru. They're all going to look somewhat similar. They're all made of bamboo. Some of them have tone holes in the back, some of them don't. And I'm going to demonstrate a crack to you. Here's the mouthpiece of this instrument. And right about where my finger is, see if I can feel it. I can't feel it very much. The crack has not gone all the way through, but there is a crack in the mouthpiece. But if you look at the instrument, it's beautifully decorated. It's an interesting instrument. Maybe if I show it to you this way, you can see the decorations better. There's decorations all over the tone holes. There's a kind of a, looks like an animal, kind of like a fawn or something like that, toward the top of it. I don't know how well you can catch that, but there it is. And then it has all kinds of little other decorative items. It's been carved. It's been hand carved. You can see this series of little hand carvings on top, the labium, the back of it. You can see the block. It's just enough of a different color that you can see it. That crack extends from part of the block down to where the labium is. And as I said, I'm not sure that you can actually pick it up. It's not that big. But it's big enough so I know that if I play it, it's going to destroy the instrument because it'll only get bigger and bigger and bigger if you play it, because you're still continuing to put air into it, warm air from your body into it. It's very, very nice. Made in Peru. I have several of them like that, and I am going to bring them in. I'm going to show them to you. There's no tone hole in the back. Some of them do, some of them don't. But this is the red one. I have a black one. Also no tone hole in the back. But look at this. Look at the decorations. I'm going to hold it like this. You can see it a lot better if I hold it like this. Okay, see the decorations. And here again, it's got that same fawn or animal, whatever it is. It looks like a fawn or a deer or something like that. It doesn't look exactly like it, but it has some of the same characteristics. And that is on this top part of the instrument. I'm wondering if it has a special meaning to the company that produces them, because a lot of them have that same animal. So I'll hold it like this again. Isn't that an attractive instrument? Now, does it play? Well, kind of, sort of. I'll try. I'm not sure that I'm going to get much out of it. So they all play more or less like that. They have that same quality of tone, but they're very nice to look at. And so this is the black one. I have two green ones. Here's the first green one. There is a tone hole in the back of this. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but there it is. Very tiny, very small, and you'll notice that it's very far down on the instrument in the back, and but it's higher. Most of these back tone holes that you find in our instruments that play well is just right opposite the thumb, but this one's a little higher than the index finger, so this tone hole is a little high. And here again, it's a beautiful instrument. I'm going to just try playing. It's going to sound the same. Not exactly in pitch. Let me hold it up so you can see the decorations. That's the most beautiful part. Now, it does have an animal, but it's like a bird on here, on top. It's a different animal. It's not like a fawn or a doe. It's got wings on it, but I imagine it's supposed to be a bird. It doesn't look exactly like a bird, but there it is, the whole instrument, and you can see here the tone hole in the back, which is like almost a little misplaced. These holes in these Peruvian instruments, these tone holes, are usually the same size all the way down the front of the instrument, and the finger stretches out. This may not seem much to you, but most instruments don't have finger stretches that large, and I can get my fingers on them, but I wouldn't be able to do if they were any larger. So this is the green one. Now I've got another Peruvian instrument that is also green, and it also has a tone hole in the back. If I can, there, you can see that now. Let me show you what the decorations are. It does have this little strap. The strap is so that you can hang it around your neck and play it. But look at the decorations there. One of these holes, tone holes, has been turned into a flower. Isn't that interesting? And it has a bird on the top. You can see it right there. The bird is on the top, and there's always a little scroll design on the top part, and underneath that is an animal. So far we've seen birds, and we've seen animals that look like fawns, and then the rest is decorated. This one is decorated like a flower, and more scroll designs on the bottom, all bamboo. And I'm not sure if this one plays well or not. Some do and some don't. I'm just going to try it. Finger stretches are enormous. The tone holes are such that most of the tone is about the same no matter what your fingering is. Now, they do make beautiful, expensive instruments in which the tones are good, but this is this particular one that's also green. Now, I've got a purple one that I also want to show you. Here's the purple one, and I'm going to hold it this way. I love the color. It does have a tone hole in the back. I'll point it out to you. Whoops, I don't know. Yeah, you can see it if I hold it back like that because you're getting the reflection of the light. So you can see the tone hole on the back, and then you can see the decorations. The decorations are simply beautiful. And on top, we have a flower. Let me rotate that. The top decoration is a flower, not a bird, not a fawn, but this is the flower. And they're all decorated differently. There's, on the lower tone hole, there's just a bunch of little circles around it. What they do is they carve into the wood, I think, after they paint it to make these decorations. But isn't that pretty? And doesn't that have a beautiful color to it? The labium, you can see the block very easily because it is a little different color than the surrounding wood. So that's the Peruvian. And all of these instruments, except for the first two, are all from Peru. Now, I want to show you a couple of instruments from Morocco. These are end-blown flutes. I'll hold them up so you can see the wood is stained. There is some decoration on it. It really is quite attractive. The labium is on one side, is on the back side. This is the labium. It has a little lip to it. But the fingers are on the back side, or would appear to be on the back side. So obviously you have to play it with the fingers in front, and the labium is in the back. So you play it in such a way that the air goes through. It's a little slit. It's an end-blown flute. So I'm going to show you this. I hope it comes out all right. And you're going to see that there is a little slit in it. Let me check where its location is. It's right there. A little slit in it. It's flat on top, so that when you hold it up, it looks just like a tube, but there's a little slit. I can see a little bit of it from here. And when you blow into it, that slit is the same thing as the mouthpiece. You blow over that slit, the air comes out the labium in the back. It's really kind of unusual. It's called an end blown because it doesn't have a full mouthpiece like a recorder has. If I use a recorder, you're going to see the big difference because this looks just like a tube with nothing, and this you can see the mouthpiece. This, by the way, is from China. I'll be showing it to you. I'm not sure. I don't have too much time left. I may have to continue it next segment. There's one from Morocco, and this is the next one, also from Morocco. And it has various designs on it, very beautiful to look at. It's an end-blown flute. The tone holes are in the front. They are different sizes. They're better in accommodating your hands. You do have various designs. This looks like a shoe or something on the top of it. I don't know if you can catch it. It's probably a plant, but it has a shape like a shoe a little bit, you know. And so it's a very interesting instrument. They come to a close at the bottom. You can see a hole, but they all kind of point. It comes like to a point. So this is also from Morocco. Now, I'm going to show you one more here, and then we'll continue with it next time because I won't have a chance to finish it. I don't know where this is from, but it's from a Caribbean country. And the way I got it was that my sister and a friend of hers went out. It was Christmas time. I'll show you the decorations. There's a butterfly on top. They went out at Christmas time, and somebody in the mall was selling them. So they bought one intending to give it to me, and I did get it, of course, but they couldn't make it play. They tried playing it, and they thought they'd made a mistake. We felt so bad, Pat. We got an instrument for you that doesn't play. So I picked it up, and I played it, and it played beautifully. But the thing is, they didn't know how to do it. So you get the butterfly in the top. It's small. You get a beautiful flower in the bottom. I love the way this is decorated. I want to play a few notes, and then I'll close it off because we are running out of time. I know. It actually plays in the key of D. There's a tone hole in the back of it. The problem with people playing it is they don't notice that tone hole. It's not in a normal position. Usually your thumb is just opposite your index finger, but this is quite a difference between where your thumb and your index finger is. And if you forget that, you don't get much of a tone on it. But if you remember that, you actually can play fairly well on this. And I have used this. You know, it's a novelty item, but it's a good little instrument. I just wished I knew where it came from, and I don't. Now, I'm going to close it off here. I'm going to continue with this next time, and we'll go into how the recorder is built. What makes a recorder a recorder? What are the similarities between the recorders and other instruments? So we'll close it off here. Please join me next time.